4 top creepiest abandoned places in Colorado. One. Abandoned Midland Railway. The Colorado Midland Railway was the first standard gauge railroad that overpassed the Continental Divide, but its life was short-lived. Lasting fewer than 40 years, the CMR suffered the same fate as many of the mining towns in the area. In operation from 1883 to 1918, the line was built over some of the more ridiculous lands that a train ever had to operate on in the state. That dangerous terrain would ultimately lead to its demise, because the Hagerman Pass would freeze over during parts of the year, costing the line thousands of dollars every year. These days, not much remains of the railway aside from the various tunnels that it used to travel through. Most of the rails were auctioned off and removed, leaving very little to prove that a train ever passed through these tunnels at all. 2. Como Roundhouse. In case you're not sure what a roundhouse is, we'll give you a little history. A roundhouse is a building where trains are serviced or repaired prior to being put back on the line. With that being said, you definitely won't see many roundhouses being put to use these days, especially one of this design. The good news is that this site is actually being preserved, and it should be here for some time to come. The bad news is that it means you shouldn't be able to explore anytime soon. That's okay, though. This is one of those spots that you really need to sit back and simply enjoy the architecture and the amount of work that went into creating it. 3. Mary Murphy Mine. It's hard to imagine that a mine that once poured out over $4.4 million worth of gold is now wasting away in the countryside, but it definitely is. It's a moderate hike from Grizzly Lake, but it's a hot spot for anyone looking to adventure among a ghost town. While it's not easy to get there are quite a few who even bother to drive their ATVs around the area surrounding the mine. Just looking at the picture above should tell you that it's not the wisest thing to try to mess around inside of the building, which almost appears to be held together by termites holding hands. This spot is prime for admiring the power of nature, and learning just how quickly our buildings will become dilapidated over time. 4. Nevadaville. Nevadaville is the true definition of a ghost town. Just like many of the other mining towns in Colorado, it went bust big time back in 1900, at which point the population significantly declined. Everything from the main drag of the town, the post office, and the mines are easy to access, and each part of the town offers a glimpse into the past for various reasons. The area right outside the mine itself is the most interesting spot to explore, where you can still find occasional mining relics from the past. The strangest thing to think about when exploring here is the fact that the town itself was rebuilt after a huge fire in the 1860s, only to be deserted less than 50 years later. The only building that sees any use these days is the Masonic Lodge, which is the only lodge to hold regular meetings in a ghost